That's a podcast.
Who else would you want to have on your podcast other than Jesus?
It's hard to say after that. But if I was to be real candid,
that was a legitimate answer.
No, 100%. I would love to talk to Jesus.
Okay, but
all right, but no, the person that I probably would want to talk to, I know this might seem a little crazy.
It won't.
Hitler. Man, it's a lot going on, honestly.
A whole lot going on.
We got a lot of noise going on, don't we?
A lot of noise going on.
Yo, if anybody, like, if you know about podcasts, you know, noise and everything, audio is in, like, me and this guy right now are literally, like, working. Yes, yeah. Yeah, we're going to power through it, though. It's all good. It's all good.
Sure.
Man, I real quick, like, one thing that I've been learning is that, you know, our audience always wants to know off the bat, you know, what's going on. So, I think people need to know, like, why are you and I here? An introduction is probably necessary. What you think?
For sure, absolutely. My name is Josh Posley. Joshua Posley. Me and this guy met at Ball State. I'm the host of the Dream Big, Think Sharp podcast, where we turn our thoughts and dreams into things, taking our ideas from imagination to creation. I've had the Dream Big, Think Sharp podcast for about, I would say, almost 6 months now. I started Martin Luther King Day. Dream Big, Think Sharp. I have a dream, perfect day to start it. So yeah. But I'm glad we're able to come together now because, as you see, we have a lot of noise right now.
Bro,
it's a lot going on.
It's a lot.
We're gonna make it work.
It's a lot, man. Hopefully, at the end of this, you know what I'm saying, we're able to walk away both enlightened. Our audience is able to be enlightened because that's what we about. For me, my name is Josh. Like you said, we met back. We went to the same school, Ball State, and kind of like just life have this interesting way of putting the like people that think the same way in the same places, and so we had an opportunity to link up. But I am the host of Just a Kid from Gary, a podcast inspired to influence and inspire people to, you know, achieve their dreams and then make them a reality. And in that podcast, basically, I highlight individuals from the city of Gary or from cities like Gary that are doing some amazing things just to, you know, make their community and people around them, you know, better. So one thing for me is having you on this show and us doing this show together actually falls like right in line with everything. You were talking about the dream big, and I could think about moments in my life when I was younger where I dreamed big. You know what I'm saying? Dreaming big was everything for me because, bro, I grew up in, like, bro, sometimes I would think about it. Like, I had a great, I had a great childhood, but just the area, you know what I'm saying, sometimes you just know. And for me, like, we knew, you know what I'm saying, it wasn't, like, the best. So, like, all we had was our dreams. You know what I'm saying? That's all we had. We had just our dreams. And so I'm like, bro, this makes sense. Like, us linking up, us doing this pod. By the way, if you're out there and you're listening to this pod, you got to know, like, then me and this guy, we've been having conversations for, like over a year now?
Oh, yeah. Intense conversations.
Yeah.
And who knew it would lead up to this, but I'm glad it has.
Bro, it started on a book conversation. Like, really?
It really did. So, look, let me give you all the background.
Right, let them know, bro.
So, totally random. We got the same barber. Shout out to Sherm. Sherm get you right.
Yeah.
So, same barber. He's in the barber chair, and I'm waiting. I'm, you know, doing some things, you know, on my phone, just making sure I'm getting some things in order. I don't remember how. We just got on the conversation of books, and then we talked about one of the craziest books of all time, 48 Laws of Power.
48 Laws of Power.
If you are a book reader, if you are an enlightened individual, if you are someone that likes your mind to be stimulated, that book is the definition.
And let me add this, and challenged. If you like your mind to be challenged, because that book goes against a lot of the like norms that we're used to. It has
to be, especially the 48 laws.
Yeah.
I feel like there's no one person that you already operate off of all 48.
That's true.
Impossible.
I've talked to people and I've seen people use those strategies, but I've never ever seen anybody that understands each one. Maybe I just gotta run into him.
I understand it. I'm aware.
Right.
I get it. But as far as like, I learned it like from the book. It wasn't things that like, oh yeah, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
So no, that's not stuff that I was already doing before. But we connected on the book. I was actually almost done with it. Josh had already finished it. Yeah. And from there on out, we just started talking about different things we needed to connect on.
Right.
Little did I know, saw you the next week at the gym. At the boxing gym, I didn't even know his member there, so it was really just all aligned perfectly.
I forgot about that actually.
We did,
yeah. So, cause like literally a week later, like this man's about to start boxing. Like literally, I had been boxing once again. Shout out to Sharon. It's like, yo, like you need to box, bro. I'm like, what's all this boxing business about? And basically, I'll tell you this: when you start reading, your mind is not the only thing you want to start strengthening. You know what I'm saying? Your physical,
the way you do anything,
like
the way you do
everything, bro. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like that was huge. When we ran into each other, one thing that let me know, I was like, all right, this guy is like thinking or operates similar to me, because it's not the first time, you know, we end up in the same place. So
for sure,
I think that, bro, this conversation is about to be, bro. Real quick, like kind of give everybody like your background real quick, just so like we know what's going on. Why should they even listen to us?
Why should they listen?
Why should they even tune in?
My background. I'm just a kid from Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm not from Gary. My mom grew up in Gary though, so it definitely got ties. My grandmother still lives there. My mom went to Roosevelt.
Do you know? Okay, so they're east side, right?
Yes.
On the east side.
Yes.
Yep.
Lives on Ellsworth.
Yep. Okay.
Or by the post office.
Okay.
So yeah. If you know me well, and for those of you that don't, I know I was really big on football. I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana. I went to Warren Central High School. Had a great career there at Warren Central. Was a heavily recruited guy. Ended up going to University of Cincinnati to play football, and football was my thing from an early age. And even just the background of this picture with this little boy came from the picture that my mom gave me when I decided to play football. And I told her and I told my dad that, you know, one day I told my mom I was going to buy her a 65 Mustang. I was in the second grade when I get to the NFL. Then my dad, I don't remember what I told him I would get him, but so the dream started then. Football, and that dream carried me on through middle school, high school, college. Went to University of Cincinnati, played there for a few years. Then I transferred to Ball State, where we met.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I only went to Ball State for 2 years.
Okay.
So went there, played football there, had a great career. First team all conference, everything went well, and that dynamic went on to play in the NFL. But then I had an injury, and then that kind of shifted everything. You know, how many people can say that they had a lifelong dream that they achieved at 23?
That's true.
And then it just
crushes right in front of you.
Right, and it's not because of like lack of discipline, a lack of talent, or anything like that. It's just things that's uncontrollable. So within that time, I had to find myself. I had to realize, you know, what made me who I am. I was thinking, you know, I'm 23, I'm 24. Is my journey to reaching my goals and my dreams over at such a young age? And then some things weren't going in my favor. I'm strong in my faith, and I was thinking, you know, maybe this is not what God has destined for me. Maybe He wants me to do something different. So that led me to the personal growth and development, really finding myself, really understanding what would I do if I had no fear. What would I do if just everything, if I could do anything for free, if everybody was a millionaire, money's not a factor, what really brings me joy and peace when the day is over? And so that led me on the path of personal growth and development. And I'm in the business. I'm getting my hand into everything that I enjoy. I always say that I'm a thought leader, an empowering thought leader, and the podcast is definitely the way to, you know, get your thoughts out in a healthy way. This is good for my self-care. This is a place where I verbally journal. That's what I consider it to be.
Right.
So yeah, it's a great organic thing, and I'm glad that it's even brought me to this point to have this conversation with you. Now, there's so many other things that I could talk about as far as my background, but more so that led me here.
Bro, so when you were telling your story, or just a quick, explanation, or just a quick, dig into your history, I thought about your past is like what you went through, and like even like how you came out of it, and nothing crazy, but what I'm saying is, or what I'm getting to is that, you know, you didn't let the NFL, that situation of you getting injured and you stopping that, like, stop you.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
that's big, bro. A lot of times, you know, people get into a situation where life hits them really, really hard, and they stop, they just stop in general. You know what I'm saying? They like, okay, you know, I can't be great because I had X, Y, and Z happen. So, like, bro, I like your story. For me, mine's a little bit different. It's tethered around a couple of things. You know, I grew up. I'm from Gary, Indiana. I grew up there, and I had, you know, some amazing people around me, and basically, like, the community that I had, like, really kind of was holding me back from really being great. And because it wasn't their fault, it was my fault. I didn't know how to be a free thinker at that time. I didn't know how to achieve my goals for myself. I knew about hard work, but I didn't know how to implement it. So once we moved, I ended up moving 15 minutes south of Gary, and I got to start witnessing people that were motivated about, you know, going to school, people that motivated about, like, their lifelong careers. And it really got me thinking, like, okay, I need to start processing life completely different. So I fell in love with architecture in high school. So I got into that basically by, you know, practicing it in a class that was offering CAD. It was a computer software class, and got locked into it, and really just was like, bro, like, this is really dynamic. My teacher then ended up inviting me to an accelerated class where we was doing a 3D software class in Revit, and I did a competition and ended up winning first place in the state of Indiana. So off the rip, I was like, architecture is for me because I enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? And at the time, like, I was doing sports, I was doing this and X, Y, and Z, but this is the first time where I could use my mind to make things happen.
Right.
And once I started making those things happen, I started noticing that, you know, okay, what's my future? So then I ended up going to, I got a degree in design technology first, and then I went to Ball State. That's where we linked up.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That's where we met. We met at Ball State. So, and from there, I started learning about urban planning. I started learning about architecture. I started learning about how you can truly help people, because that's the thing, like, within design, you can influence so much. You can, like, help people in such a dynamic way that a lot of times, like, you can, like, we really don't realize, like, even how, like, a community is created. It's able to convince people of how they should act. I know that's kind of probably weird, but it's true. Like, how a neighborhood is, and how the functionality of it is kind of how people, you know, interact with it.
Right.
So when I thought about that, bro, I was like, all right, now I need to think about one ways I can really give people influence on another scale, right? So it's designed, but how do we start talking about it? A podcast.
Okay.
We started talking about it through a podcast, and one thing that for me is that, you know, I could easily get on this podcast and just start talking to people, or what I could do is I can bring people on and show what others are doing as well as myself. And so those are the reasons why, kind of for me, like, I got into this podcast thing, you know, and I know you have your reasons too, because I know, like, if anybody's watching this, they kind of like they're looking for answers to, like, why we started the podcast.
Well,
And I want to hear more about your story, actually.
So within my purpose, I say it all the time. I have my purpose statement. Yeah. My purpose is to uplift, is to inspire, and is to empower others to learn more, to do more, and to be more. Okay, so everything that I do is intentional about getting that purpose across. Whether that's through speaking engagements, whether that's through my job, whether that's through different sources of entrepreneurship, or whether anything, I should be able to tell you, well, I'm doing this thing to push this purpose. So the Dream Big Think Sharp podcast is really to connect with people that are progressive thinkers and thought leaders as well. Because if you think about it, everything starts as a dream. Like, I have this MacBook in front of me and this iPhone in front of me. I mean, it didn't just appear one day. Somebody thought it. Everything comes from a seed of thought, as we read the book As a Man Thinketh. Everything comes from there. So as we're on the path to progression, as we're on the path to getting where we need to be, obviously nobody just gets there overnight. It starts like the whole journey of personal growth and development. And as we can see it even on the podcast end, like we started with an idea of a podcast. Mm-hmm. Now it's growing more and more, right. And just to see what it's going to grow into in the future. So just getting that aspect into it is really why I decided to start it. Personal growth and development, it looks different for a lot of people. A lot of people have different ways of getting their point across. True. I don't want it to be me giving a lecture. I want it to be just an open conversation, just to people that can connect. Yeah. Just like you. Yeah. Talking about things that matter with people who care. But I do have a question for you. Yep, so you talked a lot about your background and how when you moved, you kind of got around people that were helping you, help stimulate your mind. Mm-hmm. So what does it mean to be just a kid from Gary? How does the impact of the city influence you in everything that you do? So what exactly does that mean? Yeah. To you?
Bro, to be honest with you, man, like, the podcast and me being from Gary I think it's a testimony within itself. The reason why, and this is something I really don't share with people, is I've been at gunpoint before. I've been on the cusp of being shot. I've been on the cusp of going to jail. And a lot of people will look at me and say, no, that's impossible. And that's good. I want you to think that. Because I want you to know that I am a product of the city, but what I've done and what I'm going to do is basically change that narrative for a lot of people who actually are just like me. And one thing I got comfortable with is being unique. I realized that.
Man, that's a word right there.
I realized that, bro. I realized that, it's okay, bro. Like, it's okay to think and say, okay, I'm gonna do something different. And then I'm gonna put my voice and I'm gonna put my face on a camera where you can see me.
Man, come on all platforms, man.
You feel me?
That's everything.
And everything. And then the last part of it is because this is a very simple answer for me. I always love, and I love this question, by the way. Someone actually asked you the same thing, but also, bro, like hard work, bro. Whoever told people hard, like anything that like we do or like all this stuff comes easy. Learn this in 12 easy steps, 7 easy steps. No, bro. It's all about hard work. You don't get to where you want to go without hard work.
You don't.
And it's inevitable. I personally want to show people that. I personally want to show people that I'm going to work my butt off every single day.
Right.
And once I get there, I'm going to teach you how to do it, or you just watch. But I personally don't even want to talk about it. I just want my actions to show, because the truth is the stigma that we get, or at least like for me, because I'm from Gary, is that we don't work for what we want.
Oh yeah.
We don't go after our goals, and that's a lie. Because the truth is there's a lot of people going after their goals, but guess what? Nobody's being displayed. And guess what? I'm going to show y'all who those people are. So if you out there, get with me. Get with me.
Hey.
But question back to you, bro. Because that's a great question. Okay. Question back to you. How do you see, your podcast and even being from Indianapolis kind of shaped who you are? Like, what is that dynamic today?
I think it all starts off back when I was playing football. We can be real. A lot of football players get the stigma of not really working hard or not that intelligent, or you fit into some sort of aura, some sort of category of what you should or should not be able to achieve. So there goes from that. Not only that, Warren Central is on the east side of Indy, and granted, I live out in the suburbs, but people already have the stigmas of what you can and can't achieve. But they put a ceiling to you.
Right.
Also, so yeah, people. Another thing, people putting these high hopes on me with football, and granted, everything worked out well. Not how I would have intended to be, but some people think it's NFL or bust. Like if you don't go to the league, it's like, what do you do now? Oh, you just back in the city, or you just work at McDonald's, or you just do no. Like I'm talented at a lot of things, and that's not me being arrogant. That's me operating on the gifts and abilities that God gave me. So just focusing on that, and then the podcast is really showing the progression of all that, because I have all these dreams that I'm gonna achieve. I'll have all these goals that I'm gonna. Like you said, I don't want to have to tell you that I'm holding fast to my dreams. I want my actions to show, and you can see for yourself that, oh man, that guy is holding fast to his dreams.
That guy did it. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So it's all a process, man.
Bro, that speaks so much volume, bro. Because here's the thing. Like, I'm gonna just stress this one more time.
Okay,
man. I'm just gonna stress this one more time, because this is true, man. Like, bro, this is hard. Like, not this, but I'm saying, like, this stuff don't come easy, man.
It doesn't.
And I want people to understand. And when I say this, I'm not talking about podcasting or whatever. I'm talking about being that example for others. I'm talking about showing, like achieving things. Like, you know, it's easy. It's really, really easy to just have a cop out type of moment. It's easy to say, okay, you know, life's been hard, so I'm just gonna, you know, put that aside. But I think, for you and I, but I know for me personally, when I started this podcast, bro, I'm gonna tell you right now, I would stay awake every night until like 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, brainstorming on what this podcast would be.
It's crazy that I'm gonna let you go.
Bro,
ahead, man.
No, you good, but I understand it, because, like, I don't talk to, and me personally, I don't talk about this because, you know, I like to just work. I don't really like to talk too much about, like, what I do. Mm-hmm. But I think this is a great moment to realize, like this, like, people, and I had people come up to me like, oh, I'll start a podcast. Oh, I'll just start a podcast. Or, like, yeah, like, okay.
Yeah, it's that easy.
Go ahead, do it. Do it. Like, do it.
Right.
And to this day, like I don't see it. So, like, what I'm saying is, like, but I laid a week, you know, planning, processing what's my next moves. And I think that, you know, that's what goes into, like, even just being a kid from Gary, but we have tenacity. A lot of people don't know this, bro. We have crazy tenacity. We have crazy drive. Most of the guys and girls that I meet from my city that we link up later on in life, bro, I've realized, like, they are really, like, go-getters. They're probably the most passionate people I've met. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, like, you know, they probably just don't get the platform. A lot of people don't know, like, they're doing, like, all these, like, amazing things, but they are. And so, you know, I'm excited about that. But I know you was going to talk about, I know you want to get right back on that.
Oh, no, you just stimulated a thought, and I had no intentions of talking about this today or whenever, but it just made me think about it. Like, one thing that motivates me is people executing their dreams. Just in my other series, my YouTube series, Inspire and Empower, I talk about, you know, the purpose of that is to combat limited belief systems and conditioned fears. It's like the different things that we're allowing to hinder us and not really just breaking free and doing the things that we really want to achieve. There's so many people that pass away. There's so many people that live their life not knowing what they could have achieved. And I don't want to be that guy. But just to see other people taking that opportunity to capitalize on that is brilliant. And so it's crazy that you say that, because I think I told you a little similar story to this. You know, I'm a big Travis Scott fan. Okay, those of you that have listened to my podcast, or if you're gonna listen in, I have an orchestra intro, and that is an orchestra version to this Travis Scott Astro Thunder, one of my favorite songs ever. So I get on YouTube, and and before I get on YouTube, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna start this podcast, and I'm like, dream big, think sharp. That just kept coming to me, like, I don't know what it was. It just came to me one day. A couple weeks later, I get on YouTube, and I'm looking up Astro Thunder. But then, you know, YouTube here play one video to the next. This video comes on, and I'm in my kitchen. It's playing on my TV, and I hear this violin coming. I'm like, man, what is this? Like, and it was the Astro Thunder. And then I'm like, yo, I'm gonna get in touch with this guy. I'm gonna buy the song from him, and I'm gonna put this as the intro to Dream Big, Think Sharp. From there on out, every morning I will wake up, sit in front of my fireplace, write in my journal, get my morning routine going, and play that, and really be somewhere else in my mind envisioning how Dream Big, Think Sharp is going to come to fruition. Now, granted, I started doing this like last June, I started the podcast in January. So like everything that I'm doing right now, granted things aren't going to be perfect, but like I have so much joy in the production of my podcast because I really sat and visualized how it would be. Now, going back to what I said about being motivated by other people executing their dreams, that man, how different would it be if the man that created the song had just left his dreams like alone? Like if he was just sitting like, you know what?
Right.
I know I can make music and I know I'm talented, but I don't feel like it. It's too hard.
Right.
Let me do that. Now, in the future, Dream Big Think Sharp podcast is going to have tens of hundreds of thousands of listeners moving forward. And everybody will hear his song playing on it because he took his opportunity to capitalize on his gifts and abilities. That's just huge,
bro. This conversation motivates me, but one thing I've learned that is sometimes people don't like hearing stuff like this, and I'll tell you why.
Why?
And I'll be real with you,
Yeah.
100% real, bro. Because the truth is, people look at guys like you and I, and they say, "Well, those guys are crazy."
I'll be crazy.
Yep. They say, for example, like Albert Einstein, they say he was crazy. You know what I'm saying? And quite frankly, bro, we're gonna get this crazy label until, you know, people start realizing that these guys are not gonna let up. These guys are not gonna stop. So honestly, the best thing is to just rock with us. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's really like important because people just in general need a place to like come to and actually like listen to some quality things, but not only listen to quality stuff, but actually at the same time get to be on it.
For sure.
Because if we're in the same like thinking like, you know what I'm saying, wavelength, you know what I'm saying, boom, we link up. You know what I'm saying, we make things happen. Which leads me to my next thought and my next question. You know, talking about making things happen. Talk about this drive. What is your why?
What is my why? Number one, to implement my purpose. Like I said, I'm a purpose-driven, empowering thought leader. My purpose is to uplift, inspire, and empower others to learn more, to do more, to be more. I'm 26 years old. And I know there's people that's 40 and 56 years old that don't know their purpose. God gave me the ability, the awareness, the discernment to understand what my purpose is, and I want to carry that out in every way. I'm not a person that's okay with knowing that I have gifts and abilities and talent and potential and it just sit in me and I not do anything about it. I always say that life is really meant to have all the prosperity and joy and peace and just fullness that life can bring. So living a life under that is just not something that sits well with me. Just I want to achieve the abundance and everything. You know, one of my favorite scripture, Ephesians chapter 3, verse 20, says, "And God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above what you can ask or think." Okay, but according to the power that worketh within you. So that's my why. That's why I do the things that I do. Saying He can do all this stuff. Think about all the things that we can imagine. Think of all the things that we could ask for. But you can do exceedingly abundantly above that. But it has to do with the power that works within me. So what do I do with that power? I gotta build it. How do I strengthen that? My discipline, my consistency, my confidence, the things that I'm working to stimulate my mind with, the books that I read, the conversations that I have, the people that I surround myself around, my environment, the talks that I listen to, the circles that I set myself into, what I pray about at night, my affirmations. So I could go down the line a lot with that, but it's just the progression. I'm in love with progressing, and I can't stay stagnant in any area. So that's what really fuels me. And the podcast is the platform to really be transparent with people and show people. I wouldn't necessarily say how it's done, but how I'm getting it done. Because obviously we're not on here just talking at people. We're not telling people do this, do that, because we're young men. We're getting it figured out on the way. So this is just really a platform to really show people, here's how I'm getting it done. Now I'm also going to collaborate with other people that are going in their own avenue. They're being original and they're getting it done as well, just like you.
On my way here, I was thinking, And this came. It's interesting that you just said that because this came to my mind, bro. I personally cannot. I am not comfortable with where I'm at. I always want to push for better. Like, it's something in me that it always, like, even from when I was, a kid in Gary, it was something about it. Like, I remember I was always different, but I never understood why. And I remember, like, being able to think, like, in a grand way than a lot of my peers. And I noticed about conversation. So we'll have a conversation and we're talking about, kind of like the simplistic things. One of the homies that I grew up with, he was crazy at basketball. And he was older than me, but he was crazy at basketball. And when you're playing against somebody and you just know, like, they're just doing it, like, with ease. Right. Like, right. Like, everything they do is just, and I was talking to him one day. It was just him and I. We was on a one-on-one. I was like, bro, have you ever thought about going to school? Bro, we're in Gary, bro. We're in the hood. Nobody thinks like this, right? We don't even hear this conversation. So I asked him, like, bro, you ever thought about playing ball in school? And he was like, nah, boy, like, I'm a dope boy. I can't do that. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, at the time I was like, I thought that was cool, right? So I'm like, oh yeah, respect, like, and then thinking back at it, I was being different even by asking him that question. And I'm not the type of guy to, like, try to, like, brag or anything, but I just wonder if he ever think about that conversation, because one thing that for me, I look back at those conversations, I'm like, bro, you were always different. You was never even, like, even for the people that were around you, was trying to even low key push them to be the better them. Like, bro, he could really play ball really well. I don't know if he would have got pro, but I know that it would have been able to just take him out of the situation that he was in. Mm-hmm. And so it just goes back to when I was driving here, I was telling myself, I was like, I just personally cannot be, I'm not comfortable with, like, not exceeding. And I know people look at it and I'm like, okay, like, why do people do the things they do? But it's because internally I'm not comfortable. I want to succeed.
So what makes you feel fulfilled?
What makes me feel, like, fulfilled more than anything? A couple of things. My family, know that they squared away and taken care of. Mm-hmm. I've been setting up systems to do that. That makes me feel fulfilled. Once I achieve, like, for example, I put a goal and I say, okay, I want to get X, Y, and Z done. So, for example, like, building a business, and then creating a streamline where when they need income or when they need a position in that business, they're able to walk into that and, get bread or whatever. That, to me, that's a peace of mind. Josh, I'm struggling. I'm down. Can you help me? No problem. We can get you here, X, Y, and Z. You'll be making money in the next week. To me, that's fulfillment. And it's not about money.
That's success.
But it's about peace of mind for that person. You feel me? And if I'm not doing that on a, like, grand scale, that scale, by the ways, is me going back to my city, going back to Gary, and helping people become the entrepreneurs that they want it to be. Bro, I love business. I love entrepreneurship. Also love design. So the thing for me is, one, how do I strategize and make my own business successful? But then how do I help others become successful with their businesses?
For sure.
Especially if they look like you and I.
Absolutely.
Because they don't have the education on how to really build a successful business.
Right. And that's really what got me on the wave to even pour into people. Mm-hmm. Because there were some things that I didn't know. My dad's a very intelligent guy. I couldn't ask to know a better person across any lines whatsoever. And he's poured into me a lot, but there's only certain stuff that you can get from one person. You need multiple knowledge, just from abroad. So I noticed in different areas that I was probably lacking in things because of me not being proactive and seeking them. It's nobody's responsibility but mine. But then once I really understood that people thought differently, and there's other people that are really out here that are geniuses, and they read these books and have this stuff in their mind, and I don't know that you know that stuff. Like, could you imagine us being cool and I have all this knowledge about everything,
right?
And I don't give you nothing.
We don't say nothing.
So like, what good is that? So every platform that I'm doing, as I'm getting this knowledge, like I'm letting it come to me, and then I'm letting it go through me. Mm-hmm. How can I feel fulfilled if I implement all of these principles and I become the richest man in America, and I build the legacy that I want to leave? My family is good, how they're supposed to be good. Mm-hmm. But nobody is affected around me. Nobody else can benefit from my success, at least from the knowledge piece of it. That's what really has me pointing to people. That's why I do these speaking engagements. That's why I do anything about uplifting and inspiring and empowering others to learn more, to do more, to be more, for that reason. Mm-hmm. Because if not, was I just doing it for myself? And if I was, I mean, if somebody's doing that for themselves, then so be it. But that just doesn't sit right with me.
Right.
So
yeah, it does have this vain type of approach to it, and I've had to personally self-analyze that, because I even had to ask myself, why do I even want to be successful, or why do I even want these things? Is it just because of me, or is it because of others? And that's why I had to start learning about why, and that's why the books were so good, because bro, it helps you reading helps you channel literally all this, like all the questions you might have,
everything.
The ambitions you have, it helps who you are. It helps you channel all of that, because the thing about it is, here it is. There's 7.6 billion people in the world, and true enough, we're all different, but at the same time, we share characteristics.
For sure,
we share characteristics, and like you said, you read a book, somebody has this knowledge. I will be dumb. I will be completely dumb if I didn't go and just unlock that information.
I say this all the time when people say like, tell me one thing about reading. Why should I get into reading? Okay, bro, peep this. Okay, Tillman Fertitta, one of the richest men in the world, the man that owns the Houston Rockets, owns everything. He wrote one book. His net worth is like $46 billion. He wrote one book, and he's in his 60s. Why wouldn't I get all this knowledge this man has to say about this subject? People don't write a book about, let me see, I like iPhones, I'm going to read about iPhones for a year and write a book about it. No, this is like knowledge that people have stored up, and from other people's knowledge, and just so much intelligence and genius into it. And I can read this in 2 weeks, a month, 2 months or something.
And then learn everything that this guy has grabbed in the 60 years that he applied.
And then I read another one. And then I read another one. And then I read something about spirituality. Then I read something about mental growth. Then I read something about how to be productive, and one about how to be creative and innovative, and one about how to really get in tap with my brain energy, and one about understanding leadership, and one about finance. Come on now. It's out there for you.
All right, bro. Real quick, you're on a good roll. I have to take my hat off to you real quick on one book for sure. I mean, we've shared. We have a lot of books that we share. There's one book that I've read just recently that I have to take my hat off to you.
To me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Atomic Habits, bro, by James Clear. Bro,
Atomic Habits by James Clear.
I'm not going front, bro. That book.
I told you.
Yeah, bro. That book, like, I was like, all right. I get it.
Side note. I just want to give this man credit because he actually read the book.
Yeah.
Because I give some people book suggestions and they may not, and you don't have to read them, but like you actually took it in.
Yes, bro.
Thoughts on the book.
Okay.
Atomic Habits.
Okay.
James Clear.
Okay. I wasn't gonna really like dive into this because like I want people to go read this book for themselves.
Okay.
But I'll give them like the cliff note of my
the Josh notes.
Yeah.
Josh Sims notes.
My thoughts on Atomic Habits.
Okay.
First off, I understand why people succeed at a different level now. Okay. The reason why is because doing anything, you must be disciplined.
Yes.
But in order to get disciplined, you have to start with something that happens. It's a reoccurring habit in your life, and I hate to use the word habit to explain this book, but it's no other way to get around it. You have to do something that is that maybe it's the smallest thing, and maybe it's for example for me, and bro, it's so many good advice on that book, but I'll bring this up for sure. When you make a decision in your head, That's the first habit.
It is.
That's the first habit. People say, for example, if I smoke cigarettes, and people was like, oh, like, and I told them, I was quitting, and they was like, do you smoke? Or people would ask me, do you smoke? And if I say I'm trying to smoke, I have not broken that habit up here. But if I say, yeah, I've quit, I've already broken the habit up here. Right. Now it's just the action.
Being disciplined,
to carry out the action. Man. But it starts here, yo.
And it's all a science.
Bro.
It's a science.
It's weird,
like,
bro.
Like when people, some people are into biohacking, about getting into things. Okay, that's a subject for another day, what biohacking really is. But being disciplined and consistent with creating and unlearning habits, that's a real biohacking.
Yeah.
That, man, that's one. And it just so happened that book came to me at the most perfect time, just being effective and being productive and being efficient. Man, it's like I read a few different books that goes right into that. The compound effect.
Yep.
Did you put me onto the compound effect?
I did.
So you see how those go like
they go hand in hand.
But
especially if you read the Atomic Habit and then Compound Effect. Even if you reverse it, they're still hand in hand type of books.
Once you do that, the Powerful Engagement.
I haven't read that.
The Powerful Engagement.
I haven't read that.
That's definitely one.
Wow.
So all these have like gone back to back.
Bro, we're over here nerding out. People probably like these guys are like lame or whatever. Bro, I'll tell y'all right now, man.
We could talk for days.
Change your life by reading books. I'm telling y'all right now. Like
read a book.
Read a book, bro.
Start by reading Cat in the Hat. Don't read Cat in the Hat.
This is the book that I recommend. I always recommend people to start reading.
I already know what you're gonna say. Go ahead.
No, it's not. It's something different.
Okay.
I know for sure. But it's How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh, I haven't read that. I thought you were about to say As a Man Thinketh.
That's a good one. But if a man, because this is just across the board from anybody.
Okay.
How to Win and Influence People.
Okay, I haven't read that book.
This is the reason why I say read it. Or I start with that book.
Okay.
If you're trying to get into like personal development. Because every day we have to deal with people. No matter what, if we're ordering food on the phone, if we're playing video games over the thing, and let's just take our most introverted person, they still have to deal with people. That book nails on the head how to deal with people. If everyone read that book, they would definitely, I think, in my personal opinion, they would definitely have a better approach with dealing with people.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
The difference between that book and 48 Laws of Power. Because that is how, in a sense, that is how it is to influence people.
48 Laws of Power, if not read correctly, can be taken out of its context and used in a way that the book was not intended. The book was basically intended for you to completely succeed.
Succeed. In a positive
way.
Yeah. Yes.
But if you read the book and you take it for example, if you read one chapter, like let's just say for example, you read the first chapter, you might go, well, this is all I need, and literally you'll ruin your life. So you need
right.
You need to start
some of those examples, because he'll show you a principle. Cause I say principles are universal, but he'll show how somebody implemented this principle, and it was for negative. They had ill intentions.
Right.
So okay,
and that was a good thing. But so How to Win Friends and Influence People is just a softer tone. It doesn't have the. It's like the 48 Laws of Power is a hard book.
It's a hard book.
It's a hard book, and I'm gonna be honest, it's a hard read.
It is. You have to listen. It's 24 hours.
I was reading some stuff and I'm like, what?
And I don't even know how this man has all these. I'm gonna leave it there. Read both of those.
He did a lot of research, obviously. He did a lot of research.
Because I was about to get a little bit too deep into it. Read 48 Laws of Power. And who wrote the book? How to Win Friends and Influence People? Is it Carnegie?
I think it's Carnegie.
Okay.
Dale Carnegie.
If I had to give one book suggestion, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind.
I love that book, dog. I love that book.
I say principles are universal. So it's Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, but it's like millionaire, a dollar amount, but it's really millionaire like a wealth of mind.
And, bro, so I posted something on my IG before, and I got some bad, like, not bad, but I would say people was like, they were pushing against
that book.
From that book, I said
No
something.
way.
I said this. I said a quote from that book, and people was like, they took it in the wrong sense.
What's the quote?
It was okay.
Because I want to analyze this.
Yes. So it was basically when he was talking about the poor think this way, the rich think this way. The poor think this way, the rich think this way. Okay. So it was. I think he was analyzing the poor think. I'll say for a rainy day. The rich think I don't have to have a rainy day.
Right. But like, we about to say.
No, you good. Go ahead.
Okay. So in that book, when he's talking about poor and rich, yes, you could say that financially, but he's really talking about minded people, like having to have an abundant state of mind,
right?
How to have a prosperous state of mind and not thinking as far as lack. So I didn't really think he was talking about that as far as wealth. I mean, he was.
He talked about wealth.
Yeah, it was wealth.
Yeah.
But what is wealth? Like, wealth can be a lot of different things.
But wealth is the mindset.
Yes, wealth is the mindset.
Yeah.
And so that really addressed. You can, if you were to read one book in a year, I would say that book, because you could apply it to so many different things. You could apply it to your finances. You can apply it to how you go to work.
That's true.
You can apply it to how you're a parent. You can apply it to your own endeavors. You can apply it to your personal growth and development in all these different ways. That book is the principle. That book gave me the principle that principles are universal.
Even in your spiritual life. I agree.
Absolutely.
Because if you think a certain way. But Dave Chappelle in his and one of his stand-ups said this. He said he was telling a story about how he was it was cold in their crib, and he would ask his dad, can he like turn up the heat, and his dad was like, you know, he made a joke like, can we turn it up to at least 32?
32.
So
man.
So obviously it was cold in the house. That's kind of like how you know, sarcastic he was trying to be about how cold it was. Mm-hmm. But one thing he said, he was like, he got mad one time because his dad, he asked his dad like, could he go to the like, you know, a dance or something like that. His dad was like, we don't got that much money or whatever, and he was like, man, I'm tired of being broke. Oh no, I'm tired of being poor. And his dad was like, you know, he said his dad wasn't an angry person. So what his dad did was he threw he was reading the newspaper, threw it on the ground. He said, look, you're not poor. Poor is a mindset. Poor is a way you think. Broke is your financial situation. And you're only there temporarily.
I'll give you that. I give you that.
And that's what the Secrets of the Million, bro. That's what that book. That's what it's telling you, and not just on finance. It's on all levels. If you think a certain way, if you operate a certain way, bro. I was reading something where it was saying this guy. It was this book. I forgot the name of it. Oh, maybe The Compound Effect. It was talking about how a guy went to New York or went to Philadelphia with only like $100 in his pocket. And he was trying to get a writing deal, his illustrator deal. Think and Grow Rich. Yes. Thank you.
That's how you know we really some readers.
Bro, you gotta pick up on it, so you know, so you heard the story. But yeah, he knew that, you know. So he went to Philadelphia, only $100 in his pocket, and he goes and he gets a hotel, and he gets another room too. And his method was he was basically going to and in a way I thought that was brilliant, but basically his idea was he was going to take care of the publisher so he doesn't have a worry in his mind on how to get a room, and he made it easy for him just so that it made it easy for, you know, for his deal when it came down to, you know, him being published. And if you would think about if he was thinking like a poor person, he would say, "Oh, I don't have enough money to do it.
I gotta save to go back.
I gotta save at home.
I gotta eat.
Exactly like how I'm gonna get around all of this stuff." But he wasn't thinking that way. He was thinking like, okay, if I invest, this is an investment. It ended up actually turning out to be where this guy, like, you know what I'm saying, got the deal. Like he got he got published.
He did, and now if I remember correctly, he borrowed the $100.
He did. He brought it from his
brother, I think.
Brother-in-law.
Yes,
his brother-in-law
borrowed the money. Got there, man. But it all starts somewhere. Yeah. But yeah, man, we could get to this all day. But
yeah. We tap it into 50 minutes, man.
We are. I do want to say, man, this has been a great podcast. Especially, man, we are in here at Level Up Gaming Lounge.
Yeah.
In the basement.
Yeah. Shout out to them though for like letting us use this spot, man.
Shout out to Tony Jones.
Tony Jones.
Man, hey, that's my boy. Hey, me and
Tony
him have
Jones.
become great friends. Like we become great friends.
And I got a lot of respect for Tony. I see how he's moving. You know what I'm saying? I see how he's working. I got a lot of respect for that brother. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You get a lot of respect from me. Shout out to Tony, man.
Y'all will meet Tony. I will make sure he's a guest on my podcast.
You have to.
Oh, for
because
sure.
bro, he's doing some crazy things in Indy.
Man, for sure.
Yeah.
Like he's like he is what my target audience would be.
Mm-hmm.
So a progressive person, someone that has dreams, someone that's actually being proactive to do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
So gotta respect him. He owns this gaming lounge. Him and his partner Sammy.
Mm-hmm.
We're in here. They have some stuff going on upstairs, but hey, show must go on.
So
if you hear some noise or something, it's just from the ceiling.
That's it.
Everything is in good condition, but
Yeah,
it's just some people in here.
Yeah.
So we got to make do.
But hey, man, this was a great podcast, man.
This is number one.
That's what I was just about to say, bro. This is only the first one. We about to actually take you guys on a series with Josh and Josh. But no, we're gonna go on this series of podcasts, and this first one is just telling you like kind of just an introduction to like why we started the podcast, why we're so passionate about life, why we're passionate about what we do, and kind of like just some of the resources that we use, you know what I'm saying, to keep us pushing. So if you rock with this content, be sure to look out for the next one. Where can they find you, bro?
So they can find my page. I have the Instagram for the Dream Big Think Sharp. That's DBTS for Dream Big Think Sharp _podcast on Instagram. Same thing on Twitter. And same thing on Facebook. My personal page is JPosley _JPOSLEY _ on Instagram and Twitter.
Cool.
Also, podcast is available on all platforms.
Hey, same with me. Just a Kid from Gary is on all platforms. I'm glad that I was able to chop it up with my guy. If you want to follow me on Instagram or on Facebook, it's at Joshua Sims. Very simple. That's Joshua Sims. If you're at YouTube, any of those listening platforms, streaming platforms, be sure to catch Just a Kid from Gary or Think Big, Dream Sharp on all listening platforms.
I got one question before we go.
Let's hear it.
If you could have any one guest on your podcast, dead or alive, who would it be?
Dang, bro, dead or alive? All right. Bro, I hate to say like the typical like Jesus Christ, cause like,
But you think you gotta go with Jesus?
but bro,
we get Jesus on the podcast,
bro, Jesus, like I would want to talk to Jesus, and he'd be on the podcast, and we just chop it up.
Chop it up. You know, chop it up about.
Yeah, actually, it's no chop it up. This is the thing.
Talking for 62 hours.
This is
straight.
the thing. This is what happened. Literally, I would ask him one question: Jesus, how are you? And that's it. And he could just tell me everything because he already knows my mind, right? He already knows my heart. So he would just.
That is gonna be a podcast
Bro.
episode. What would I say to Jesus if he was my guest on the podcast?
Yo.
What would we talk about? What would I ask
That's a
him?
podcast episode.
Yo, man, that's
a podcast.
Who
episode.
else would you want to have on your podcast other than Jesus?
It's hard to say after that. But if I was to be real candid,
That was a legitimate answer, though.
no, 100%. I would love to talk to Jesus.
Okay, but
All right, but no, the person that I probably would want to talk to, I know this might seem a little crazy.
it won't.
Hitler.
Okay.
I
You
want to
say why, or we'll touch on that next episode.
Yeah, we won't even talk about it.
Yeah. Next
So
episode.
they're gonna have to wait for that one.
Right.
I bet.
Okay, Hitler. Next episode. Tune in next time. You have our platforms. Thank y'all for tuning in. Dream Big, Think Sharp podcast, turning our thoughts and dreams into things. I'm the purpose-driven, empowering thought leader, Josh Posley.
And I am Joshua Sims with Just a Kid from Gary, a podcast inspired to make you achieve your dreams and then make them a reality. We out.
Peace.